Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Rhyme of the Times for the weekend in 17th of August 2024. Paris 24 has its final day with a striking display as crews drops in and then motors away to catch a plane to LA, ready for the next Olympics in the USA. Most say that Paris was more than okay at the end of the day, although naysayers may say boxing's in disarray and a volleyballing convict should not have been allowed to play. The unions hold sway as Labour gives way to demands for more pay for workers on the railway. A keyboard warrior has her say, but her words cause dismay and she's now locked away. The way Graham Thorpe passed away is publicly relayed. Sunday in Stade de France, the most ethereal of shows, brought the Paris Summer Olympics to a close. Léon Marchand, the game's poster boy swimmer for France, made his torch-bearing entrance that had the crowd entranced. And on a zip wire at the end in cruised Tom Cruise, descending from the roof to get the audience infused with excitement and an anticipatory wow for the LA Games coming up 4 years from now. High-fived as many US team members that he could and then mounted his motorbike. Next stop, Hollywood. On the back of the bike, the Olympic flag placed, flapping in the tailwind as he rode off in haste. Through the French capital, no time to waste, to give the crowd a flavour of LA to taste. He drove onto a plane, handily waiting, and was soon skydiving out, no hesitating. Cruise in control, the all-American action man disposed of his parachute and then off he ran. Having left Paris's three-ring circus behind, he was now hammering 3 rings to the Hollywood sign. The 3 rings attached above Hollywood's double O to create the world-famous Olympic logo. Back in Stade de France, the crowd watched in awe at this mission impossible that the whole world saw. They were getting Tom's exploits projected to them on giant screens all around the stadium. And finally, performances from Long Beach, LA, with Billie Eilish, Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. And so the countdown to 2028 has begun. But what about the competition just done? Most seem to agree Paris had been a success, a forthright fortnight of sporting sweat and finesse, 17 world records from the world's very best. But there was some stuff that was less pleasant to digest, like in boxing where things didn't all go to plan, with questions on what's a woman and what's a man. Imani Khalif and Lin Yu Ting had been assessed and failed the gender eligibility test, but that was with the IBA, not the IOC, who were more concerned about inclusivity. Women should be able to compete as women, even if biologically they were certain of winning. They were brutally trolled, but in the end consoled by their medals of gold that they now have and hold. While Me Too and others battled with the thought that beating up women is now considered fair sport. And for the sake of 2 individual women's rights, there's been a trail of dangerously unequal fights. In the men's beach volleyball tournament, meanwhile, the Dutch fielded a convicted paedophile. While break dancing out of the Olympics has spun, breaking's dream broken almost before it had begun, but at least it had its one day in the sun, and Oz's ray gun provided some unintended great fun. And for most people, these games produced only smiles from the likes of Keely Hodgkinson and Simone Biles. Britain's Keely won the metric half mile by a mile, while Simone's the greatest gymnast ever, no denial. The fastest woman and man are Alfred and Lyles. Noah Lyles won the closest final for a while Julian Alfred won her gold medal in style, causing St. Lucians to dance in and on the aisle, the first ever medal for any denomination to be won by this Caribbean island nation. For Team GB, it was an impressive medal haul, 14 golds amongst 65 overall. USA were top, but the gap could not have been finer. Their 40 golds were on an equal par with China. 3 weeks ago, the new Labour Chancellor said that she had been very seriously misled. Rachel Reeves talked of a black hole the Tories had left, money that was missing, not from fraud or from theft, but from incompetent management and then deceit, leaving a huge gap on the country's balance sheet. So she announced big cuts to government spending. For a start, winter fuel payments would be ending. But now she seems prepared to beg, steal or borrow to spend government money like there's no tomorrow. This week, train unions' demands were matched, the government paying up with no strings attached. Teachers and doctors have already been placated with big pay settlements negotiated, leading some people to reckon they detect a government that's been keen to appease the public sector. The issue of suicide amongst middle-aged men was a topic that was discussed this week again. It followed clarification of how Graham Thorpe died, a long period of depression ending in suicide. Social media has become a platform to think out loud, except the thinking out loud is also to a crowd. And if just one word or sentence gives offence, it can lead to a disproportionate jail sentence. Is this a slippery slope to total thought control, punishing thoughts when they become an online troll? A 53-year-old grandma got tangled in such a web and may have unwittingly become a cause célèbre. The full-time carer with no record of crime typed a stream of consciousness that was in her mind. The post on Facebook, which she quickly took down, said the Southport Mosque should have been burnt to the ground. Julie Sweeney will now spend 15 months in the clink, a long sentence for a misplaced sentence, many think. For free speech supporters, it's caused a fair old stink.